Fiddlesticks.
What's going on, guys? You see the title, you see the thumbnail. I'm gonna help you guys get seal complete. So I myself have hit seal complete, and right now I'm doing a challenge learning my first glasspad, and I'm aiming to hit indigo. I'm aiming to hit indigo. Yeah. So after this, there's going to be a bunch of explanations on random topics such as how Viscose's benchmarks work and all that. The actual scenarios, they're going to be split up into kind of like 3 sections. So I'm going to give my tips on tracking, and then I'm going to play the scenarios. I might have a bit of a talk during the scenarios, but mostly for tracking, it's going to be just the scenarios playing. And then for the flicking tech, I'm going to be doing some switching tips and flicking tips, and then I'll be talking a bit more during those scenarios there. And then same for clicking, same deal. I'll be chatting through the scenarios there, giving a little bit of advice. So let's get into it, eh? Since this is a beginner benchmark, some of you are probably new, so I'm going to go through a few little things to make your Kovacs experience a little bit better. Alright, so if you are brand new, I'm going to grab some sounds, some themes, and some crosshairs that you probably see people using, and then I'll put it in the link below. This is actually from Viscose herself, so you'll be using the same stuff as her. So the Viscose benchmarks are a training benchmark. What that means is usually a benchmark will test you to see where your skills are at, whereas Viscose's benchmarks are designed to increase your skills. Does that make sense? Something to note about the rank difficulties in Viscose benchmarks is they don't work as a typical benchmark, such as the one on screen now from Voltaic. So for Voltaic, the scenarios will fit into novice, intermediate, and advanced, and every rank in those categories will be higher than the previous difficulty, right? So everything in intermediate is higher than everything in novice. That is not how it works for Viscose's benchmarks. She's a bit sneaky, you see, a bit cheeky, the old Viscose. You can see here, there's a bit of an overlap between the difficulties of the scenarios and the ranks within those scenarios. So getting seal, it's in the easier scenarios, but it's harder to get than the early ranks of medium scenarios. Does that make sense? Alright, what you're going to notice here is the control tracking. It is split up with arm, wrist, and fingertip, and then a mixture of all of them. So I want you to keep that in mind whilst you're doing the scenario or where you should be focusing, because it helps a ton. So when you watch the scenarios, I'm going to have 2 numbers down the bottom left here. I'm going to put the median and the mean sensitivity for each of the scenarios. So this is from the EVXL.app, and it just takes the top 50 players and gets the stats from there. So it's a good starting point. This is an incredibly useful app, and as far as I am aware, it's just one guy, Evil, who runs this. So show him some love and throw him a few bucks, because I think we all use this a lot and we just don't think about it. And just quickly here, you saw the sensitivity before? It's done in per 360 degree rotations. So how many centimeters to do a 1 360, and it's the standard in the community. And you can change it like this. Alright, last thing is the fair Dinkum method. This is going to be most applicable to the switching and clicking scenarios. And it's basically just a little method I use whilst I'm playing scenarios, as well as reviewing for myself and for others. It's just like the very basics of aim that we kind of forget about. So I'll quickly go over it. So we can't choose the outcome we want. We can't really choose our rank, right? The only thing we can choose is the process of how we aim and the effort we put into that process. And so this is the process. So we want to improve our scores. And I believe the best way to do that is in the following order. We want to be deliberately clicking, and we want to be on the target. We want to be riding the balls, boys. Riding the balls. So what I mean with deliberate clicking is you want to make sure your clicks have a purpose. So you really want to be on target and make sure that click counts. You don't want to sit there spam clicking and being lazy. You know what I mean? And when I talk about riding the balls, it's when you're playing a switching scenario, once you make contact with the target, I want you to be on there that entire time. Don't fall off. That's your number 1 priority. You do that, you improve on that, your score will improve a shit ton. I'm telling you. I can't tell you how many replays I've been asked to review And the people are like, oh, what am I doing wrong? And so they jump onto a target, they fall off, they're switching to another one, and it's like, I think the name switching, it confuses people and they think they got to go real fast. But no, you got to just, once you're on that target, remain on there until it's dead. And then simply, casually, just go to the next one. Do the same thing. Your score will be so much better. 100%. That brings us to the next one. Number 2, minimize travel distance. Don't worry about the speed. Keep it casual like I just said. And make a minimum travel so that like that vector. That's short, straight distance to the next target. It doesn't have to be quick, but it should be the most direct route, yeah? Alright, improving fluidity. This is done through tension management. It's very difficult to explain, but think about it as when your hand and arm are relaxed, you can move your cursor in more directions. When it's tensed, you can move it less directions, but faster. That's all I'm going to say about that. Number 4, I don't think worry about it too much. Like I say here, it's probably going to develop naturally, and it's probably way down the line. So work on those first 3, but I'll just put it here anyway. Now I want you to take these 4 steps and review yourself. But if you're like me and you find reviewing pretty tedious and annoying, do it when you hit a PB or a session best. Then, it feels better to do because you're celebrating a little bit, and then so it's easier to review yourself, see where your errors are. That's how I do it anyway. You do whatever you want to do. All right, now let's get into the actual guide, hey? All right, here's all my tracking tips. Okay, biggest mistakes I see with tracking, especially from new people, is overcorrecting. So a target will move left, it'll move right, you'll move left and right as well, but you'll overdo it. And then you try to correct, and then it's already moved, and it's just like a big mess. So keep that in mind. Second, incorrect sensitivity. A lot of people think they have to play like their in-game sense to get better. That's not true. You're way better looking at the numbers I have down the bottom left there and going to those. And overcomplicating, overthinking. You see this all the time. It's really not that hard. You gotta chill. Just put the crosshair on the dot, keep it on there. That's all you gotta do. You just follow that thing around. You see people like that overhype it, they're getting all tensed up, but just don't overthink it. Alright, like I just said, one of the biggest tips I can give for tracking to new people is simply just relaxing. Calm down, be chill. You will find that you will do much better at tracking when you're not like overstressed and overthinking it. Just chill mindset. You got this. So the second one is hold your mouse as if it's like a chicken egg, right? So what this does is it will increase your fluidity compared to if you were holding your mouse super tight. Give it a test now. Grab your mouse, hold it like a chicken egg, and feel like how much more movement you get out of it. You can move in so many more directions, right? Then grab it really hard. Your range of motion is way more limited. So try to hold it as soft as you can with tracking, especially if the targets are moving up and down, left, right, And this last one here. Lots of people, when they first start tracking, they'll do lots of like little flicks, little micro flicks, rather than a continuous smooth motion. So what I want you to try to do is get onto the target and then smoothly follow it. Just follow it. Mimic its moves. It's going to do you a lot better than constantly trying to flick and catch up to it, if that makes sense. Oh, and here's my favorite part, guys. The unhinged mindsets. Now, all this is if you're like me, I can't remember all these bloody tips and stuff, right? But if I have like a mindset, like I'm thinking about something, that's way easier for me to remember. So this first one here, look at Granny in her car, Granny with the shopping trolley. Now I think we've all been in one or two of these situations, right? Say you're driving and you're trying to get past someone like this Granny. She's just like cruising. She doesn't care. She's like, come on, Granny, come on. Why do you got a license? You don't deserve a license. And she's like, oh, I've never had an accident. Yeah, but you've caused like 47 of them, Grandma. Like, come on, please. You know what I mean? And then there's Granny with the shopping trolley. It's pretty much the same thing. Say you're like running late for something, you need to go to a lecture, you're trying to grab a few things, and you're stuck behind a Granny, and like you're trying to get past her, but she somehow goes right the same way you go right, going left the same time you do, so you just like end up having to like walk behind her because like it's just the fastest way somehow, and she's all like, oh, the oatmeal's on sale, isn't it? Oh, that's nice. You're like, come on, move. You know what I mean? So what I need you guys to do is, you're gonna become Grandma when you're tracking. So you're just going to calm and slow, like you just don't care. Tuesday, 2 p.m, no one cares. Like, come on, that's what you're going to do when you're tracking. You're going to be grandma, chill and slow. That's like the first unhinged mindset. All right, the second unhinged mindset here is, it's a pretty simple one. Your crosshair, you're going to put it on the target, and then you're going to imagine that you become the target. Your crosshair becomes the target. So you're going to pretend that you're moving the target itself, you know what I mean? So that way, like, you're following it automatically. So that might help you out a bit. It helps me sometimes. So yeah, it's pretty unhinged, but it helps. So give those two things a go if you're struggling, okay? Now I'm going to play all the scenarios here. I might not talk through it the whole time, but if there are like some scenario-based tips, I'll give a little yap. So it's up to you to find it. Maybe I don't talk at all. That's because I'm unhinged. Fuck, can't speak, eh? That's because I'm unhinged. Alrighty. Control tracking with the focus on the arm. Yeah, so it's right in the title there. I want you to be really thinking about your arm movements, concentrating on moving that left to right, up and down, majority movement with your arm. You're obviously going to use some other parts of your body, but I want you to be focusing on the arm, and you'll kind of make that mind-muscle connection. I don't have any tips for you here. I just wanted to say I'm a little bit disappointed in the old Viscose. You see, I hit seal complete a while ago, and I still haven't received my seal. Like the mammoth, it came. As soon as I got mammoth complete, well, mammoth in the mail, but brah, like no seal. They must be out of seals. My mammoth is a bit cranky, because it wants a friend, you know what I mean? So, Viscose, if you're listening, where is my seal? Alrighty, the old wristy wrist. Every young man's favourite body part. Very similar to the last one in terms of like technique, but obviously you want to be focusing on your wrist. Mind-muscle connection. The wrist there. The last one in this subsection, the VT control sphere intermediate 80%. I find personally that you'll feel that like in the fingertips as well, it may be even a little bit more than the wrist, but it is under the wrist category. And yeah, just remember, just tracking in general, we've got to repeat ourselves quite a bit here. Slow movements, keep on the target. You're that old person on the trolley. You know what's up. Follow the target, put yourself on the target, like your crosshair on the target, and then pretend you turn into the target. Boom. New little technique, eh? Alright, so this next section is all about flicking, and all the scenarios except for one are switching scenarios. So I'm going to give you my switching tips. So the mistakes I see in these scenarios all the time are getting on and then off. You'll see people get onto a target and then instantly fall off it and then try to get back on. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but over time you'll lose a ton of points from this. Next mistake, flicking too hard. Kind of sounds a bit strange because these are scenarios based on flicking, right? But I'll explain in a bit. This next one comes from poor pathing and knowing where your next target will be. So I'll see people, they'll kill a target and then they're kind of lost. They don't know where to go, and that little delay, it adds up over time. And last one, similar to the first one, you'll probably hear when you're playing static scenarios about micro-correcting. When you're doing switching scenarios, you don't want to be doing that. You want to be going straight to target, flick straight onto the target. So my biggest tip will be going back to the fair dinkum method. Take a look at that again if you're having trouble, and that should sort out a lot of your problems. This next one, again, straight target to target. No in-between stopping or anything. You just want to go from the middle of one target to the middle of the next. And this last one, when you're on a target, already have an idea of where you're going to go next. It makes the flow of your scenario much, much better, which will increase your score. And the first unhinged mindset will help you with this. I want you to think of constellations. You see how like there's little paths between each target? Try to imagine that in your head whilst you're playing. This will really help you with your pathing, and then so you won't get lost about where your next target's going to be. Does that make sense? This last one's helped me recently, actually. I want you to pretend that your crosshair is a spaceship. And to destroy the moon, you got to land somewhere in the middle, but these moons are sometimes moving as well. So you always want to be in the middle there. So you're going to quickly land and then keep going with the moon until it blows up. Does that make sense? So it helps with staying on the target. It sounds cracked, I know, but just give it a go. That little mindset, it helped me a ton. So yeah, jump on there and ride along with the moon until it blows up. A lot of these scenarios will benefit from having a kill confirm sound, as well as an increasing pitch whilst you're on the target. I'm going to put it on the screen now, how you do that. Alright, again guys, I've just thought of a few more tips I can add, but in terms of scenario specific, I might put some in here throughout these throughout this gameplay, sorry. But if not, I'll probably just have some chill music going or something. You can just watch and maybe pick up some stuff. A lot of people struggle with flicking because of fluidity and tension management. What I want you guys to try and focus on a little bit is when you're flicking, think of it as using momentum rather than like holding onto the mouse super tightly. You know what I mean? So take that sport curling. This is probably the best example I can think of. You know how they're throwing the stone down the ice and it's using the momentum to land? Try to do that with your mouse. Obviously it's not exactly the same thing, but I think you get the idea, yeah? So what that will do is when you land on a target and you click, you're going to be kind of loose in the hand. So it'll be easier for you to then move to the next target because the muscles in your hand will be more relaxed. I'll just cut in here, guys. This is a good one to practice the old moon landing, eh? Give it a go. This one here, guys, really focus on that pathing minimization, just straight target to target, as well as this is going to be a lot of fingertip here. So the little micro movements, so just really concentrate on your fingertips when you're doing this one. So remember the fair Dinkum method? The very first one about staying on target. This is a really good scenario to practice that. So I really recommend this one. So with the clicking scenarios, guys, there's a lot of crossover with the switching. So I'm not going to do like its own thing. What I'm going to do is chuck up the fair dinkum method. You can have another look at that. As well as I made one for popcorn about a week ago or so. There could be a few little tips here that can help on the similar popcorn scenarios here on the old Viscose benchmarks. So yeah, just have a quick little glance at those and see if they help you out. And I will comment a little bit on some of these scenarios themselves. All right, this one here, remember the constellations. Really good for this one, and just really concentrate on that deliberate clicking. A lot of these scenarios are all about reading the target. And so for this particular scenario, it's much easier to hit the target just as it starts falling. You see here, comes down. You see most of my targeting is as the target is falling. This scenario here, really good for the deliberate clicking. This is probably your number one priority here. Just thinking about deliberate clicking. Crosshair on there, click. Crosshair on there, click. Good luck. I struggle on this scenario, guys, but similar thing to the one before, go for it when it's falling. Easier when it's falling. This scenario here, it benefits a lot from that tension management. So remember, curling. You're gonna like almost throw your mouse, so when you land, your hand is relaxed. All right, give it a go. Alright, this one here, guys, it's going to be using a lot of your fingertip. So remember that mind-muscle connection. Just think about your fingertips as you're doing this one, and eventually you'll get it, and you're going to smash it. I believe in you. Big seal complete incoming. For this scenario, if you're a TAC FPS player, I'm talking to you CS, bloody Valorant players, this one's real good for you. Just see how they move, like the targets here. It's very similar to what you'd be shooting at in Valorant and CS, right? Oh, gotcha. Alright, I believe that covers it all. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you got something out of me yapping to you. What I'm going to do is, if there's a ton of questions in the comments, I'm either going to like answer individually, or if there's like the same one coming up, I'll make like a little part 2 to this just to answer the frequently asked questions. You know what I mean? Alright, peace.